What's up, guys? Today on People Now, a Real Housewives of Atlanta star calling for help to find her missing mother. We have details.
Our Tiger King obsession continues with series stars Jeff and Lauren Lowe, who reveal what producers got right and wrong about Joe Exotic.
Also today, Samantha B reacting to Bernie Sanders' announcement that he's suspending his campaign. It's in a People Now exclusive.
Stories that make us smile, how one bar owner salvaged money on the walls of her bar to help her employees. We'll explain.
Plus, we'll tell you how scraps from the AIDS Memorial Quilt are being used in the fight against coronavirus.
It's all coming up today on People Now. Let's go.
What's up, guys? Welcome to People Now. Great to see you. I'm Jeremy Parsons here in New York. It's rainy in New York. I'm kind of bummed. Andrea, how are you doing?
Oh no, it's rainy in New York. It is very sunny out here, which I'm really excited about. I'm doing great. It's a Thursday. It's very exciting. We have a really good show today. I talked to Jeff and Lauren Lowe from Tiger King. It was an insane interview. It's crazy.
I'm so pumped for that.
Well, we've been talking to a lot of the Tiger King people, and everyone's story is different. So it's just this big puzzle you can't really figure out. And then I also talked to Samantha B. She's at her home in upstate New York, out in the middle of the woods. She was really great to talk to, and we got her reactions to Bernie Sanders dropping out of the race. So a lot to get to. So here's what you need to know and what's trending today, starting with this.
Former Real Housewives of Atlanta star Sheree Whitfield's mother, Thelma Ferguson, is missing. Whitfield revealed the news on Instagram Wednesday, explaining that her mother often takes what Whitfield calls personal vacations without letting the family know. This time, though, she says she's been gone for too long without reaching out to anyone.
Whitfield writes, quote, "Right now we are leaning on God and staying positive and prayerful for her safe return home. Home is where the heart is, and prayer in numbers work." Whitfield concludes the post by urging anyone with information on Ferguson's whereabouts to contact the Sandy Springs Police Department.
The Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported that Ferguson has been missing since March, and according to police, she was last seen March 23rd after leaving her home in Sandy Springs to go to the bank.
Ferguson was reportedly seen wearing gray pants and a black shirt and was driving a 2009 Honda Accord. Sandy Springs police did not respond to People's request for comment.
And in more sad news today, rapper and model Chynna died at her home in Philadelphia on Wednesday. She was only 25 years old. At this time, her cause of death is unknown, but her manager, John Miller, has confirmed the news to People.
The young rapper's family said in a statement provided to People that Chynna was deeply loved and will be sorely missed. Her death comes just 4 months after she released her EP titled If I Die First.
Since news of her death, a number of fellow artists have paid tribute on Twitter. Singer Kehlani tweeted in part, "Today was our last exchange of jokes, and those I will miss the most. I love you so very much. My heart is officially iced." Kehlani also paid tribute to Chynna on Instagram, sharing a number of videos calling her friend my China doll in a lengthy caption. She added later on, quote, "I kind of feel like I got to say goodbye. I love you very much. Angels never die. Never, ever."
Rapper Carrie Foe also tweeted, writing, "I love you, Chynna. Forever, my rap game, Laura Croft." Rapper Don McLennan said in his tweet that Chynna deserves more. He then added in part, "We need to make sure to give folks their flowers while they are here to see them. This hurts so bad."
According to Pitchfork, Chynna, whose full name was Chynna Rogers, began her career as a model when she was 14, signing with Ford Models. During her rise to fame, Chynna was mentored by A$AP Yams, who died in 2015. Her association with A$AP Mob helped her first gain traction in the hip-hop scene.
Her music career took off in 2013 after she released her hit track Selfie and Glen Coco in 2014. She then released 2 EPs in the 2 years that followed. According to Pitchfork, on her 2016 album, she addressed her struggle with opioid addiction.
During a 2018 interview with Pitchfork, Chynna explained that her music served as an escape for her and offered a way for fans to know that they are not alone. We're sending our condolences to Chynna's friends and family. Now we switch gears to this.
Shortly after Bernie Sanders announced on Wednesday that he's dropping out of the 2020 presidential race, paving the way for former Vice President Joe Biden to be the Democratic nominee, I caught up with Full Frontal with Samantha B host Samantha B. We covered a whole slew of topics, including her honest and immediate reaction to that Bernie news. Watch.
Well, he may be dropping out, but I do hope that, so many of his ideas, so many of the things that he really held true to on his values, we are seeing those things play out right now. The notion of universal healthcare, which for a lot of people, listen, I'm from Canada, so I'm all in on universal healthcare. The notion of that was so abstract in a lot of people's minds until this exact moment. So it's understandable to me that he would drop out of the race, but I think that those ideas have never been more essential. And we are all feeling that right now. Just, I think
yeah.
people are looking at these long periods of potential illness and thinking, well, how do I manage? Like, how could I be ill and have to pay an enormous hospital bill? None of these questions are resolved, and it's really scary. And so I hope that we continue to talk about those ideas, because we have to.
We'll have more with Samantha Bee next week, including how fighting birds may have affected her show from home.
Even though one Georgia bar, like many small businesses across the country, had to shut down and lay off their staff due to coronavirus, the owner's act of kindness is today's story to make you smile.
Jennifer Knox, the owner of the Sandbar in Tybee Island, Georgia, removed all of the cash from the walls of her bar, what you're seeing right now, for her now unemployed staff. And she tells CNN she was sitting in her empty bar, looking around, and when she saw all the money on her walls, she knew she had to get this money down.
It actually took 3.5 days and 5 volunteers to do the job. But in the end, Jennifer racked up $3,714. The stacks of bills covered the bar counter. Several customers caught wind of this act of kindness and decided to donate themselves, bringing the final total over $4,000 and allowing Jennifer to then give each of her employees $600.
And to add kindness on top of kindness, one of those employees donated their share to another bartender from another bar, and donations are continuing to come in. Tybee Island's population is just 3,000 people, and Jennifer tells CNN that it's a town where everybody looks out for each other. We are all in this together. It's pretty incredible. Also crazy that she had almost $4,000 just on her walls in her bar.
Right, like when you think about it, I'm sure it was one of those bars where it's like, you know, that's just a fun thing to do, and then in a time like this, that becomes critical money. So we're glad that they're doing good. Other uplifting stories, though, so many people doing such good right now. One woman is using her sewing skills and some fabric near and dear to her heart to help others during the coronavirus pandemic. She's using leftover scraps from the iconic AIDS memorial quilt to make masks.
Chief Quilt Coordinator for the San Francisco AIDS Foundation, Gert McMullen, tells people in this week's issue that she feels the echoes of the AIDS crisis in the coronavirus pandemic. She says, this just all feels too similar, but now you can't even hug people. Take a look.
It's deja vu, a lot of it, you know, I mean, and even worse, not worse, but worse in a different way, is that we're trapped at home. You can't, you know, love people. I mean, not love them, but you can't hold them, you can't be near them, and it's my personal hell on earth.
Yeah, it was in March that McMullen, who lost several friends to AIDS, began to have symptoms of PTSD, but she knew what she had to do, and that was return to her sewing machine.
I started trying to figure out what I could do that could help me the way the quilt had helped me get through. And I can't touch people in all night. How can I not go down to the hospitals? I used to go to the hospitals in the early 80s and people I didn't even know, and I'd just go down to comfort them. So I decided to start sewing masks, face masks that nurses wear and we'll all be wearing probably soon, if not now. And I decided it was a way that I could help my community and help people, whether I knew them or not, and do whatever I could, because I can sew.
She says she's going to be dropping the masks off to communities that really need them. She also encourages others to help create masks for their communities as well. And she says, at least there is something I can do, adding, quote, you'll never know what you'll get out of it until you start doing it. People need them.
In the 1980s, McMullen joined activist Cleve Jones to create a quilt to honor AIDS victims who were not eulogized because of the stigma that surrounded the disease. They turned that quilt into a memorial. Since then, the quilt has continued to grow, and it now includes 48,000 panels and 100,000 names. The National AIDS Memorial became the custodian of the quilt last year and is helping bring it home to the Bay Area after a 20-year stay in Atlanta. Its triumphant homecoming was set for April 3rd in Golden Gate Park until the coronavirus pandemic put a hold on that ceremony.
McMullen, who had moved to Atlanta to care for the quilt, will travel with it. And she says, I never wanted to leave my friends behind. I mean, this is such an amazing story. She's been through so much and is really continuing to help others.
All right, guys, stay with us. Our Tiger King exclusive interviews continue with Lauren and Jeff Lowe. You won't believe some of their allegations and their perspective on the whole thing. Stick around for that. Plus, Jameela Jamil shares her plans for her new podcast and what she thinks we all should remember in the age of coronavirus.
There's perhaps no better time than right now to spark joy, and who better to help us do that than Marie Kondo. In this week's issue of People, the Queen of Mess is opening up about finding joy with her family. Marie tells People, quote, when life changes dramatically, as it is right now, I think it's very important to keep a calm mind, and the process of tidying can give you a sense of calm.
The apple falls only slightly further from the tree because while her daughters, quote, love to tidy, they sometimes protest. Marie says they even throw tantrums, if you can believe it.
Surprisingly, Marie says she can tolerate life's messy moments. She says, quote, I used to be a perfectionist when it came to tidying my house, but it became difficult to maintain that standard after having my children. So much was out of my control. She says she hopes her openness will help others ease up on impossible standards.
She also shared with us tips for working joyfully from home, even with kids. She says, make sure they know your schedule. And while it's not always easy, make the most of meltdowns. Marie says, quote, I try to honor their feelings, ask them what's bothering them, let them know you understand. She also suggests making a schedule for them because creating a lineup for them is so important. She says whether it's making breakfast together, reading, or doing puzzles, this way kids know what to do, even if everything's kind of out of whack. We have found that to be very helpful in my house, by the way.
She also says if you're struggling to draw a line between work and play, use some scented oils to let your body know that you're shifting gears from private mode to work mode. Wow, I've never actually thought about that before, but it really makes sense. And you should really only keep essentials on your desk, but make sure to add an item that sparks joy. Also, remove distractions like your phone or snacks.
Lastly, of course, make time for tidying. Marie says, quote, we make it a daily practice and tidy together at the end of the day. Marie's new book, Joy at Work, Organizing Your Professional Life, which she co-authored with organizational psychologist Scott Sonnenschein, is out now.
The plan with the podcast is to destigmatize everything, to destigmatize the main shames that hold us back in life, and to destigmatize conversations predominantly around mental health, which is such a big umbrella and it's such an intersectional situation to find yourself into.
Jameela Jamil is an actress, writer, host, and advocate. In 2018, she launched a movement and activism platform called I Weigh, and what started as an idea became a community to share experiences and insights. Now, I Weigh has transformed into a podcast, and it continues to challenge society's definition of worth through weight and amplifies and empowers diverse voices to celebrate progress, not perfection.
It can find anyone from any background at any moment in their life, whether you are incredibly underprivileged or very privileged. It doesn't really discriminate. And so we want to just be able to completely let it all go and put it all out there so that anyone listening will feel less alone in their journey and less embarrassed that maybe they are struggling with the same things that we are talking about. Next week's episode is about loneliness, for example. It's with Vivek Murthy, who's the Surgeon General of the United States. And he's talking about the study of loneliness and how many people are actually lonely. And this is just a conversation that we don't have enough. So I am way too open, as we've seen from my Twitter. I'm way too open, and I do that deliberately just because I never grew up with transparent role models. I never grew up with transparent people to look up to in this industry, and I wanted to see people's struggles and the sort of warts and all side of these celebrities who live these glossy lives. I'm so dedicated to sort of pulling back the curtain and revealing the humanity behind these people and how much of it is just bullshit and lies. Bullshit and lies.
Actress Beanie Feldstein was Jameela's first guest on the podcast, and she shares that she was amazed by Beanie's healthy outlook on life.
Mostly what I was amazed by is watching someone who is bigger in size than most of the actresses that I know and meet, and to see how much better she feels about her body, how much she loves the way that she looks and embraces herself, and her motto of you either want the bean or you don't want the bean, I think is such a healthy outlook. I know women who are tiny who are just so disturbed in this industry. No one realizes what people put themselves through to get into the sample sizes, to get into the clothes, to wear the things that you see on the red carpet. Like, at the Oscars, no one's eaten since October, the year before. It's really stressful and upsetting to be around other actresses and models and singers and to see what they are being put through by the people around them, what they are being forced to fit into. And so it was so wonderful to see someone who breaks the mold and does it unapologetically. She's not making fun of her size, the way that we've seen other people do when they're bigger, that the main joke is their weight. She's not interested in that. She's just there as a human being, as the icon that she is. And she's setting a new standard, I think, for Hollywood. I think she's going to change the entire game. I was pissed. Like, how dare a 26-year-old have it figured out like that? How dare she? I was bat crazy at her age. Bat crazy. Total mess. Just like Jeff Bridges would have had to play me in a film. that's where I was at 26, and she's so sorted and grounded, and also checks her privilege in a way that I still need to learn from. And so I think she is a perfect human being. I think I might be in love with her, and she just delivers on this podcast so beautifully. So it was a great amount of feedback that we had, and sorry, I sound like Donald Trump. We had loads of great feedback, and it was just all very positive and loving. So hopefully that will continue.
Jameela has tons of other wonderful guests that she's speaking with on the podcast, like Reese Witherspoon, Billy Porter, Gloria Steinem, Tarana Burke, and Matt McGorry, just to name a few. A lot of really exciting guests there. So how did Jameela get in touch with all of these amazing people to come on I Weigh? Take a listen.
I've been sliding into everyone's DMs like a creep, basically. So I'm just sort of like your classic internet pervert. I made a list of my dream guests, all of whom had a story. I'm not looking for people who are just famous. I want someone who has influence in whatever industry they're in, whether that's science or whether that is art or music. And I wanted to, I made that list. It's a huge list, and just started firing out questions and sort of begging. I did some begging. It worked. And I now have such wonderful guests. We just recorded the Reese Witherspoon podcast episode, and it's so beautiful, and she and I cried on it together. Same thing with Aisling B. We both, and I never cry because I'm English, and we think that that's wrong. Obviously it isn't, but it's been a very emotional, very funny, I'm amazed by how raw everyone's being on it, because I'm very much so an open book, but you never expect people who are that famous to, but everyone is feeling very compelled now, more so than ever, to open up and share and help other people. They want to be supportive in the ways that they can, that are meaningful. I think the industry is about to change so much. I think there's going to be no more space for meaningless content anymore.
With social media on the rise, artists, actors, and influencers play a major role in how all these conversations take place. Jameela opened up to us on how she believes social media is helping with those conversations and what she thinks still needs to be done.
I think we need more people in power to change the way that we think about society as a whole, and I think that's why Lizzo has been such a power. I think that's why Beanie Feldstein is such a power. I think I have been helpful just in calling out diet culture. I mess up when I talk about other things, but when I'm talking about diet culture or abortion rights or all these different things, we need to be the ones that tell the kids the things that they aren't learning about in school or from their parents, because these conversations are awkward or their parents aren't updated. We have a duty to raise awareness about subjects that are more meaningful. We have the power to change what we put out into the world, and however meaningless people think celebrities are and what they have to say is, you cannot hide the fact that so much of what happens in the entertainment industry bleeds out into our culture and bleeds into the consciousness of our society. And we've seen how effective it's been just with the rise of Lizzo and Beanie Feldstein and Sam Smith and all these different people, and the massive stands they've taken, and how much that has liberated the people who follow them. I don't think after this worldwide crisis that's going to fly anymore. I don't think anyone's going to buy into your stupid gummy bears that you claim can help your hair grow, that you're selling while wearing hair extensions in the advert. And no one's going to have the money to indulge in this nonsense, but also no one has time for it. We've really, really realized that everyone is in trouble, and I think people are starting to care about each other again in a way that we haven't seen in a very long time. And so everyone's going to have to just step up their game, myself included. We all just have to do more and do better.
And Jameela is not only an activist, she starred as Tahani on NBC's The Good Place, and says that the message of the show, which is to put aside your differences and help your neighbor, is especially meaningful during the coronavirus pandemic. And she's been sure to check in on her Good Place co-stars while in self-isolation, especially Manny Jacinto. Take a listen.
Yeah, we've been checking in on each other on group messages, and I think it was a show that weirdly had the exact message that the world needs right now. It's eerie that the show would end just as this pandemic was rising, where the message of the show essentially is put aside your differences and help your neighbor to get to a better place. And that is exactly what we need to know now. It's yes, you will find people annoying, you will find people triggering, we all come from different backstories, we all have different bad behavior traits, but we need to work together in unity, in unison with each other, and stop going to bloody beach parties. Everyone is safe and well. And, you know, I think my biggest concern was the person I texted first was Manny, just because of the way that Manny looks. We are now we've started discriminating against people who are from an Asian background. Has been so stressful to me, and I can imagine that must be so stressful for anyone from that background to know how their own people are being treated, and it's happened so quickly. The speed at which we've embraced this bigotry is mad. So Manny was my first text when all this started to break out. But you know, I hope people are. I know that people are watching The Good Place for a bit of warm, fuzzy familiarity right now, and I'm really proud to have made something that can comfort people in a moment like this.
Such a great show. Love that. For more from Jameela Jamil, listeners can subscribe to the I Weigh podcast, now on Stitcher and anywhere podcasts are available.
Netflix's hit docuseries Tiger King, Murder, Mayhem, and Madness has really captured our attention for so many reasons.
Yeah, people cannot stop talking about its cast of characters like Joe Exotic, of course, and the people who he did business with, including Jeff and Lauren Lowe.
Well, I caught up with Jeff and Lauren, where they revealed everything from what the producers got right and wrong about Joe Exotic to what the future holds for them and their zoo. Take a look. Well, joining me now, former business partners of Joe Exotic, we have Jeff and Lauren Lowe. Thank you both for joining us. This show has taken over the nation. How has life changed? How are you guys doing?
Well, we don't sleep, obviously. We have people clamoring at our gates and blowing up our phones, people we haven't heard from in years and years.
People coming out of the woodwork. Yeah, it's been interesting.
I'm assuming you two watched the series. So what were your biggest takeaways from the documentary?
You know, we watched it at 5 a.m, the morning it was released, just so we kind of have a head start on everyone to know what we were facing. And they got a lot of the story right and they got a lot of the story wrong. I mean, their portrayal of us having a more complicit role is completely false. We came here from a beautiful home in Colorado to help out this redneck gunslinging tiger trainer in Oklahoma. We didn't want to live here. You know, we came, we straightened the place out, and we left and went back to Las Vegas while he conducted all of his criminal activities here. They didn't tell 10% of Joe's criminal activity. They just touched upon it. So I think there's some follow-ups that are being done now, not necessarily by Netflix, but by other people that are going to kind of expose the other side of Joe's activities.
The rabbit hole.
Okay. So what are some of the biggest things that we didn't see about Joe Exotic?
You know what struck us odd was that they portrayed him as being this country singer with a great voice, doing all his music videos. That wasn't even him.
Yeah, that's not him at all.
They knew damn well that wasn't him, and why they didn't expose that part of, just to show you that fundamentally the guy was a fraud. He's up in the gift shop selling and autographing DVDs and calling. He's had signs around the park. Asked to meet country music sensation Joe Exotic. You know, it wasn't even him.
Yeah,
it's not.
He always tried to lie to everyone
at all. That's not his voice.
No, it's not his voice.
He paid some guy up in Washington State $3,000 to write a song and sing a song. Yeah. He would go out to his garage music studio, and dub his, dub the video to his voice. Yeah, he was the first Milli Vanilli.
So you have a new zoo as well. So tell us about the GW Zoo, how that is doing, and how the new zoo is coming along.
The Greater Wynnewood Exotic, GW Zoo was Joe's creation back, in the 80s and 90s. The Greater Wynnewood Exotic Animal Park is the park that Lauren and I opened up in 2016. And the new zoo will be called the Oklahoma Zoo, and it will be located behind the WinStar Casino in Thackerville, Oklahoma. It's right on the Texas-Oklahoma border. It's still under construction. We actually have some contractors flying in today. Thanks to the popularity of the Netflix show, we've been inundated with offers to help knock this thing out and get it done.
How many tigers do you two have now?
We hover right around the 200 mark, give or take, at any given time. We retired some to a facility that a friend owns recently, but for the most part, the ones that are born here will live here forever, or at the new facility. but 200 give or take.
I'm going back to Joe a little bit. I think it was, Lauren, you said in an interview that they kind of allowed for a soft spot for Joe Exotic. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, they try to make it seem like he was innocent in the whole thing, but once you dig deep about Joe and his past, it's a really dark hole. Like, it's a hole that you can get out of, I guess is the best way to put it. But he's not a good person. He scammed a lot of people. He's hurt a lot of people. He's hurt a lot of animals, and the list just goes on and on. So he's not a good person.
Were you, I mean, I know that you were really surprised about the murder for hire plot. I mean, when you found out all those details, how shocking was it that he actually was going through with it?
That he went through it? Oh.
Unfortunately, it wasn't that surprising to us. I mean, he had talked about it for so long that I think even Joe knew that he would completely lose face or credibility if he didn't finally do something. And, he had run out of money. So I think he was down to his last straw, and several, you have no idea. People have no idea how many times he asked people just on a daily basis if they'd be willing to go to Tampa and kill this woman. I mean, from the gas station attendants to just, everybody.
Just a random person.
We've still had guests come to us at the zoo after Joe's arrest and say, you know what, he came to me and he offered me $50,000 to kill her. And he says, and you know what, I was broke. I'm down on my luck and I seriously considered it. So every time one of these people would come to us, we'd make a note of it. And because, we had to establish the pattern that Joe was doing this long before we ever knew him. All those videos where he was shooting Carol in the head and shooting these dolls, blowing her up with a, tannerite, that was 2 or 3 years before we ever even came into the picture. So we heard it on a daily basis. All the staff heard it at the morning meetings and at the nighttime meetings. But he finally started to put a plan together, I think, when he ran out of money. And I wasn't going to fund his Carol Baskin lawsuit anymore. I'd spent hundreds of thousands of dollars at this place. And I just got sick of his crap.
Who do you think is more dangerous, Joe Exotic or Carol Baskin?
Well, Joe tried to kill somebody, and I firmly believe that Carol did kill somebody. Carol is more dangerous because Carol's got money to harass people out of business, which is what she's done her entire life. If you moved into her neighborhood and you had a serval cat, she's the one who will contact all of your neighbors within, half a mile and let them know that you've got a dangerous animal living in their neighborhood. She's done it several times. She went up ahead of Joe and tried to get every one of his legal magic shows canceled, calling him an animal abuser. When she first learned of me and I was in South Carolina, she went up on she created a webpage to just call everyone who have animals in cages animal abusers. But she posted a picture of my home, my family's home in South Carolina. And the only reason I can suspect she would do that is hoping that somebody would vandalize my home or try to hurt my family. So she's an evil woman. She's finally getting what she deserves. And I think this is Joe's ultimate revenge on Carol Baskin.
You teased that we're going to see another episode. Are there going to be more episodes or maybe more documentaries about your life? What can we look forward to? Because people want more. Well,
if I say anything, I will be sued. I was told last night, keep my mouth shut about future episodes. But I can tell you that producers are on their way here from Hollywood. They're trying to get Lauren and I to sign a reality show deal. They said that we're kind of the only viable continuation of this story with, you can go back and rehash everything that's already been told, or we can continue on in a positive light and show the future of all of the animals that Joe accumulated.
Kate McKinnon is apparently doing a series based on the characters. All these celebrities are trying to, call dibs on who they're going to play. Who would you want to play you if there was a movie or a series based on the show?
Who did we hear yesterday?
Well, David Spade told me Jennifer Aniston for me, but then I said
Isla Fisher.
I like Isla Fisher from Now You See Me because she's a really pretty redhead. And, well, she is pretty. So,
I don't care who plays me. But if Isla Fisher plays her, I guess I want to play me.
Well, thank you both for all of this information. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jeff and Lauren.
You're very welcome. Come and see us.
Yes, definitely do.
Are you together?
Strangers on a train. But I bet I can tell you why she's traveling. You see this one very strong line here? That is your heart line, and that is deep. There's a break in the middle.
Is that why she looks so sad?
I think that's probably just her resting face, but the big news is that she meets the guy again soon. So that's lovely for her.
That's a look at HBO's new romantic comedy thriller premiering this Sunday. HBO's official description tells us this. Ruby Richardson walks away from her ordinary life in the suburbs to revisit her past with her college boyfriend, Billy Johnson. The two made a pact 17 years earlier. If either one of them texted the word run and the other replied with the same, they would drop everything, meet in Grand Central Station, and travel across America together. I love this idea, and I really hope I get a text that says run any minute now.
Okay. Merritt Weaver plays Ruby. She's best known for starring in Nurse Jackie, which earned her an Emmy in 2013. She also won an Emmy in 2018 for her role in Netflix's Godless and starred in last year's Marriage Story and Unbelievable. Domhnall Gleeson, who plays Billy, has also had many iconic roles, including in the Harry Potter and Star Wars franchises.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge also guest stars as Laurel, a woman who Ruby and Billy meet on their journey. Now, we all know and love Phoebe as the creator of both Fleabag and Killing Eve. She's an executive producer on this series as well. Other stars you can expect to see on Run: Mad Men's Rich Summer as Ruby's husband Lawrence, and Archie Panjabi, an Emmy winner for The Good Wife, and she plays Fiona, Billy's former PA. Run joins HBO's epic Sunday night lineup. It premieres at 10:35 p.m. Eastern after the season 4 premiere of Insecure, which airs after Westworld. So a perfect night for staying in.
With recommendations that people limit their trips to the grocery store, how do you make the most of the items you already have in your home? Well, Chef Cat Cora, most notably known for being the first female Iron Chef, is sharing a fun and healthy treat you can enjoy with your family. Joined by her son Gavin, Cat showed me and my daughter Adley exactly how they make it. Take a look. The whole point that you want to kind of like drill home for people is use whatever you've got so you don't have to go to the grocery store. What are we making?
Yeah, I mean, use what you have on hand. So what we did was we're gonna make yogurt parfaits with Greek yogurt, and this is a treat for the whole family. Everybody, we kind of put everything out. Everybody customizes it the way they like. I mean, we have everything from granola to graham crackers, Rice Krispies. We've got lots of fruit. We've got chocolate chips. We have walnuts, which I love as well. And kids tend to put on some of the Rice Krispies and things, and I tend to put on the fruit and walnuts.
Okay.
And it just makes it for a really good treat for everybody.
Okay.
I think everybody gets something that they like.
Tell me what you think about this. We got a little raspberry action. Got a little strawberry.
Yeah, a little raspberry, a little blueberry.
Got some strawberry, and we've got some got some granola. And then Adley, what's your favorite? Honey.
Oh,
You felt like that would be good, right? All right, so let's build it. How do we you got the honey there too. All right, so what do we do here?
All right, so we're layering first. So what I'm going to do is I have some Greek yogurt in here, and then, Gavin, you're going to help me. What I'm doing is I'm putting it, so walnuts is my favorite nut, and it's so good because it adds a crunchy treat to anything, to salads, savory dishes, and sweet dishes, and it's a great meat alternative because it's got so much protein in it. So, I keep mine in the freezer. One tip for people, keep your nuts in the freezer. I keep my walnuts in the freezer just like my mom did, and they last a lot longer.
Oh,
so
keep it cold. I like that. Okay. So you already had a little yogurt in there. All right, so we'll get the yogurt.
Okay, Gavin, your turn. Here you go. Now you can put a little yogurt or fruit or whatever you want to. So we're going to put a little more yogurt. Okay. There we go.
I'm getting the... Gavin, do you have a favorite item there? What are you going to load up on?
Strawberries.
Of course. Me too. Adley, what are you doing?
All right, what are you guys doing over there? What do you got going on?
Okay, I'm a little bit of it's a mess because I'm a messy dude. But we got a little. We've got the yogurt. Adley, do you want to put the raspberries in? Go ahead.
Oh, I love that. What else are you gonna put in there?
Got it.
Just some strawberries. What else?
So you're layering it, right? You're doing you do like a little yogurt and then an item and then more yogurt, right?
Exactly. You're just gonna be layering. So parfaits are just great because you can layer anything. And what I love about this dessert is you can make it healthy. You could add some little luxuries to it, like a few chocolate chips. I'm gonna put on there just because I know you like a little chocolate chips on your okay. But don't lie about it now. There we go. Let's put a little bit of, so you can do anything you want. That's why this is such a fun dessert or treat, during even a midday snack, because you can pretty much put anything you want out. What are you gonna put there? Gavin, keep going. Keep loading it up. And everybody can customize their own parfait.
Here's a little
This is what
granola.
makes it such a great dessert.
Yeah, I love it. And I love that you can go full sweet and like, you know, cookie chocolate, or you can go fruity and keep it pretty healthy.
Exactly. You can do either one, or you can mix it up and go a little bit sweet, you know, with some little luxury items like some chocolate chips and some, you know, sweeter things, and then you can add the fruit as well. So you can kind of give it a little pop of both.
Do a little honey.
Now?
Little honey on top.
All right.
We'll do the honey
Yeah,
together.
going in with some honey.
There we go. Ready? Hold it up. Ooh, tell me when to stop. Okay. I'll do a little honey here.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Look, yours is beautiful.
Off.
Mine's a total disaster as far as aesthetics, but it all tastes good, right?
The thing is, that's the great thing, is it all is going to taste good in the end, no matter what, no matter how it looks. It's all, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
There you go.
So, but it definitely, in the palate, there's, you know, it's all going to taste good. So, I mean, there we have it.
Let's get a quick judgment call. Here's Adley's. What do you think?
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Gavin, you giving this a thumbs up?
Yeah, thumbs up, 2 thumbs up.
Let me see your finished product up close.
Okay. Gavin, you have to, ta-da.
Ta-da! Nice, Gavin. All right, looking good. And then what's that other one? The pre-made thing that you have over to the side there.
Oh, this is just a little pre-made Iron Chef one. Don't pay any attention to that one.
Don't pay any attention to this perfectly done and presented piece.
I went a little Iron Chef on you today.
Before we let Kat go, she shared with us her #1 survival food tip for people in self-isolation. Take a listen.
I would say, you know what, the biggest thing people can do not to overeat during this time. I know the temptation is you get bored, and you start to eat. And I think that the biggest thing is to make a plan. Have a plan for the day. Like, I plan out a little daily menu, like I'm gonna do breakfast, lunch, dinner, this is what I'm gonna do. It may change a little bit, but at least you have a plan, a strategy for the day. And you can prep a little bit ahead. If you can do that, then I think you're gonna be just fine. But it also helps you cook what you know, cook what you like. You know, have your prep out and then make a list and make a daily plan.
To see more of Kat and her recipes, be sure to check out her Instagram. She's been doing a segment that she calls Quarantine on her Instagram Live. Kat has been creating daily live food videos that she referred to as a hotline, where her followers can follow along and ask questions while she prepares meals for her family of 8. You can check out her Quarantine videos at 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday at Cat Cora.
Coming up tomorrow, the legendary Henry Winkler will join us. He's sharing how he's been spending his time in isolation. He's adorable. We love him. Also, Jeremy, my dad, might make an appearance.
I can't wait. Royal Boehlke's debut. Plus, we have some fun with Regina Hall and Don Cheadle. We'll get the scoop on season 2 of their Showtime series, Black Monday. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Stay safe, stay in. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.